Okay, so welcome back. Now, in the last video, we did a line trace. Very simple one. Easy. It was based on mouse input. So if there's no mouse input, the line trace doesn't fire. If the line trace does fire and it doesn't hit anything, it doesn't go any further, which is what this branch function does. Now, what we want to do is we want to start looking at placing a cube on the ground. This is where it starts to get a little bit more complex. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the content drawer, which I wish we could dock somehow, and we're going to create a blueprint class. We're going to make an actor, and we're going to name it cute little cube. We're going to go into it and we're going to add a cube. It was that easy to make a cube. The problem with this cube though is it doesn't actually sit flush with the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise it up a little bit, and I believe these cubes are 100 by 100. Yep, it's sitting there. On the plane. The other problem, I believe, no, it's sitting on the 0, 0 point. So that's all good. So we've got a cube. Let's find a better material to give it other than just straight out white. Let's go with blue. It's a nice colour. It's an awful colour. It'll do. Hit compile, save, and we're going to close this window. Yes, we have collision is all there, so we're going to close that. Okay. So now what we've got to do is we have to spawn our cube when everything starts, which is very easy to do. So begin play event, because I don't think there actually is one. Is there a begin play? No. Okay, that'll do. So what we're going to do is we're going to spawn actor from class. This is a very quick and dirty way of doing it. I just want to get the cube into the world so we can start moving it around, because I need to get this handle, this object reference. Spawn transform, we can leave that empty. Collision, just always spawn, and we're going to select our cute little cube, which is here. Okay, so now we've got that. We're going to promote this return value to a variable, which we're going to call the cube. It'd help if I spelt it right. The cube. Now, what we're then going to do, so we've got that. We need to modify the line trace a little bit. So what we're going to do is we need to promote this to a variable, the actors to ignore. Otherwise, as it does a line trace, the block will sit there. And I'll illustrate this problem. So we just did that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag this here, get actors to ignore. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add. So it adds the this will add the cube to the actors to ignore array when it first starts up, so that the line trace doesn't hit it and shoot forward towards you, and we'll show you. So that's pretty much all we need to do there. Now what we need to do now is take the out hit location and we need to do set actor location. Actually, better one. Set actor location and rotation, because we're going to need the rotation for a little bit later. We're then going to take the cute little cube handle, plug that into there. We're going to stick that in there like that, and that's pretty much it. Hit compile. We're having a heart attack somewhere. What are we having a heart attack over? Current value, spawn, transform. That's right. Promote to variable. Because that has to have something attached to it. There we go. And there is our cube. And we can move it around and it's there. Now there's a few problems, but we'll get to that with placement. So see how it's the 50-50, it's how it's sticking halfway out the surface, which is not really what you want, but it's because of the way line trace has positioned it, and it's sort of just doesn't really, not very useful. Same with this, it doesn't follow the floor, it's just like that. So, oh yes, and we can we can have some fun with collision. Yay. Oh, whoops. We could do bowling. Anyway. Okay, so we've got our cube. We got the cube. We got that. We want to get the click event, which I believe is this one. So we're going to break that. We're going to steal it, and we're going to bring it over here because we don't make this neat. So we're going to use that to do to spawn our cube where the cube is. So we're going to do, under pressed, I'm going to spawn actor from class. We're going to select cute little cube, which is not actually little, but yeah. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get the cube that we made, and we're going to do get location. We're going to right click on this, we're going to split the structure into this. And what we're going to do is we're going to plonk that into there. So get back to locate. So we're going to get the location of the cube, which is the thing that was moving around, and then just spawn it. Yeah, use its location to spawn the next cube, the next cute little cube. And we're going to turn always spawn, ignore collisions on there, and that's just about all you really need to do. It's actually very simple. So compile, hit play. a right click to consume the input because we haven't got to that bit yet. And there we go. We have cubes. Yay, we did a thing. And we can put these cubes anywhere we like. And I've locked myself in with cubes. So yeah. Okay, so how do we get past the issue where the cube doesn't follow the ground, or it doesn't follow the edge of this, or it doesn't follow, it sticks halfway out? So most of the tutorials end at this point. How do you solve this problem? Well, it's actually remarkably easy to do, and it took me a while to work this one out. I'll admit that. So what we did was I need to go back to the line trace. Oh, and we will need to do this too. We need to get actor rotation. That's going to be critical too. We don't need to worry about scale, but this is critical because we've got to rotate it based on what we're doing. So what we do is we go back to our line trace, and you see here how we got the rotation input. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this out hits normal value, and what we're going to do is we're going to get rotation, hang on, from X vector. Yeah. So we're going to take that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to plug, oh hang on, we need to split this one too, because we don't, one of the values takes a bit of a detour. So we're going to take the X and plug it into X, and then we're going to take the Z and we're going to plug it into Z. Simple. But what we're also going to do is we're going to take the Y, the pitch, and we're going to do an addition node, and we're going to add -90. Makes no sense on the surface so far. And that's all we need to do. It's that simple. So we're going to hit compile, we're going to hit play, and all of a sudden our cube is on the bottom, it's on the walls, so it's not sticking out half, it's on both sides, it's sticking in the right places, it's there, it's there, it's following that quite nicely, very smoothly, and it's following the angle of the ramp. It sits flat on whatever surface you put it on. So it's fun. So, I don't know if there's any tutorials that cover that. So, there you go. The next problem that's not discussed very often, and you're usually left up to your own devices, is this. You start looking down and you start bringing that cube a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And you start shooting off to one side, and you start traversing the map in all sorts of fun ways, which can leave you to a situation where you can shoot yourself out of the thing, and you actually end up getting locked to it if you're not careful, like that, and you find yourself shooting off half, into the air and all over the joint. So there's an easy solution to this. Very, very easy. Some people turn off the collision. Some people they do all sorts of weird stuff to it. What we're going to do is we're going to change the out hit distance. We're going to use the out hit distance. And what we're going to do, just bring this over here, and that over there, and that there, and drag that there, move this here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the out hit distance. And we're going to look at it and go, okay, if the out hit distance is less than, say, sorry, we want it to be greater than a certain value. So we want to do that, the little pointy, righty, brackety thing, greater than symbol. So we're going to do that, and we're going to say 100. Now, we don't want the line trace to fire if it's less than that. Sorry, we don't want the rest of it to go ahead if it's going to, you know, like moving this around if it's going to be less than that. So what we're going to do, this is where a bit of logic comes in. We're going to do an AND boolean. We're going to put this up here, so into this branch, and we're going to put the return value into this as well. So if this is true and this is true, this will be true. This condition here will be true, and it will print the screen and it'll do everything. So if this value is set right, because you may need, if you're building bigger objects, you need to make it a bit bigger to put them further away. We should, not big enough, so let's go 200. There we go. We've stopped it. We don't shoot across the map anymore. See? But realistically, you probably want to make it, say, let's make it 300. Just to be, add that margin. Why not? So, let's go 250. That's reasonable. That's close enough. There you go. Now you've solved the problem of the cube shooting, you know, the cube making you shoot everywhere. The cube method transportation is done. So, that's that. Yeah. Okay. So that's all working. Okay, so the other problem that I needed to show you with the actors to ignore, if you do not have the actors to ignore happening, so it doesn't get added, what happens is this. See how the line trace hits it, and then it just brings it forward, because you guys, oh, hang on, there's a new position, it just brings it forward. So it brings the cube towards you. This is what actors, so when the line trace happens, so when you add it to the actors to ignore list, the line trace just will ignore it and keep hitting the ground through the object, because it's ignoring it. So if you ever come across this problem, this is what the cause is. Somewhere in your blueprint, bird's nest is where your object hasn't been added to the ignore list.